Everybody, how y'all doing? Can you hear me?
Yes. Good
Hear you,
evening.
great and
All right,
you.
good evening, good evening. Hey, well, it's so nice to see y'all.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing? I see my angel over there in the right hand. Hey, Lynn. Oh, and Dawn, you just had a birthday, didn't you?
Yes,
How's
turned
it going?
61, 62, thank God.
All right, all right.
God is
That's
good.
cool. It's cool. God is good.
Yes,
God
yes,
is
thank
good.
you.
We have 400 people registered. I know I can't speak to everybody. Uh, I'm glad to see all of y'all. And we have a lot of ground to cover tonight. So hope you have all of your utensils, uh, your snacks, etc., and your note-taking devices. But most of all, I want you to have your questions ready. Have your questions ready. Um, as long as you have questions, there are going to be answers. Questions are always more important and more powerful than answers. So make sure that you have your questions ready. I'm feeling good, feeling rested. I'm ready to go. I'm going to give the other people just a few moments to get in, and then we're going to get started. All right. In terms of housekeeping, because I have quite a bit of information to go over, um, I prefer that you not interrupt me with questions. Um, but at certain points, I'll pause and ask for questions. All right. I've broken the training up into sections. So we'll go a little ways and then we'll digest it, apply it. We'll go a little ways, then we'll digest it, apply it. But try not to interrupt me with questions. You can always put your question in the chat box. Um, and do we have a Q&A box down at the bottom? Let's see. Do I see it? Do I see it? Hmm, I don't see a Q&A. I see all these buttons, but no Q&A. Yeah, yeah, as a matter of fact, I record everything. Anytime I'm on Zoom, it's being recorded. And for any of you that are growing in business or even in life, you should definitely record. You never know what you're going to need later, what you're going to use later, and you know who it might benefit. All right. Do I? Yeah, I had to get some water. It does. It does. Oh, that Karen Myers. Did you and Karen was is getting a building paid for. Karen, were you able to reschedule your meeting with the bank with self-help?
Yes, sir. They will be to us on Wednesday.
All right,
Yes.
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right. Yeah, congratulations. Oh, and Colleen, did you get my message? Thank you for the gift. Uh Colleen sent me a book, and when I got to the office, it was there. I'm like, who sent me something? And I opened, I was like, Lord, that is so sweet. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Okay, now, well, let's go ahead and get started. Um, just for some housekeeping, you'll hold your questions until we call for Q&A. But for right now, go ahead and let everybody know where you are, where you're from. You can put what type of program you have, and if you're in for-profit business, you can put what type of business you have. Let's go ahead and put that in the chat box, um, just so folks can get a sense of who else is here. I think that by the end of this, there might be people here that you can collaborate with, especially if you know that they're in your city or in your state. I have the tendency to talk fast. I don't mean any harm, but everybody is going to get everything. Everybody is going to get everything. Everybody is going to get everything. Everybody's going to get what? Everything. All right. And so you don't have to worry about it. Uh, this is what I do. I love teaching. And I'm really glad that y'all been here. And it feels like it's been so long since I've been able to teach. So I'm real pumped up about it. All right. So let's get started. When you think about grants in general, now we're talking about the shortcut to grants, but most people are actually wondering, what is a grant? How do you get a grant? How do you write a grant? And the people that are familiar with grants are wondering, what do you have to do to get more of them? And then there's so much talk about grants and so many misconceptions. I'm going to clear up some of those. We're going to go over some examples. We're going to go over examples of what I've done, what my clients have done, what my students have done, what's available in your cities and your states, and we'll just go as far as we can with you all. My promise to you is that I'll be here. I'll be here to answer your questions, and I'll be here to give you the information that you need for as long as we have on the line. All right. So that's a big promise, especially to make for 400 people. We're gonna go until we can't go no more. All right. All right. If you're ready, say ready, 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 ready. If you're ready, say ready. All right.
Ready, ready.
Now, I don't know if the link is still open, but we can only have 500 people here. Hold on. My voice better be ready. All right, we can only have 500 people. So if you know some folks that need to register, go ahead and remind them, especially if you know some groups of people. There are some church groups that need to create community committees. And we'll talk about that later on. So make sure that you're inviting those people as well. All right. All right. So grants, what is a grant? A grant is money that you don't have to pay back and is used for some community purpose. When you think about grants, these grants you do not have to pay back. It's money that you don't have to pay back and is given to you for a community purpose. That community purpose can be any number of things. You can have grants for cars, for houses, grants for buildings and buses and transportation and vans, grants for utilities, grants for all type of program activities, back to school drives, Christmas drives, holiday drives, grants for after school programs, for food, for clothing, grants for computers. There are grants for bail money, dental services. One of my students, she got grants for her veneers. You get grants for cars, you get grants for equipment, oil changes, tires. You can get grant if you can think about it, you can get grants for it. All right. The challenge that most people are having is that I know that grants are out there and available for it, but I don't know how to get those grants. So the number one question is, what is a grant? And then the next thing that people are wondering is, are grants for me? Well, grants are definitely for you if what you're doing is going to benefit somebody. So there are personal grants, but those personal grants that come to you are not coming to you first. They're coming to an organization, and that organization is giving it to you. For example, if you need a grant to go to college, if you need grants for college or scholarships, that means that some entity has received the grant and they're giving it to you as a recipient. But what I'm going to train you to do is to be the person that receives the money so that you can give it out. When you receive the money, you're receiving it so that you can give it out. And as part of the grant, you can build a salary in for yourself. You can build in whatever technology you're going to need. If you need a car for you to drive around, if you need equipment like a computer, cell phone, utility bills, etc., like whatever it is that you need in order to do the work that you're doing, the grants are there and available for that, and you just build it into your grant. So there's some misconceptions that people have about grants, and I want to get those out of the way first of all. Number one is you never need just one grant. Ever, 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 ever. Anytime somebody say, I need a grant, that means they don't know what they're talking about. I don't care who it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care how fancy their marketing is. If they say to you, you need a grant, the moment they say a grant, then they don't know what they're talking about, because grants are not supposed to come singularly. They're supposed to come in groups. In fact, when you apply for grants, they don't want to be the only ones giving you money. They actually want you to pair their money with another agency's money, and that's called leveraging. All right. And so I teach this under a subject called grant stacking. That's where you take one grant that you received and you stack it upon the next grant. All right. So you need multiple grants. You need small grants and large grants, big grants and little grants. You need grants from the left and grants from the right, grants from the north and from the south. And when you think about grants, you're not ever only thinking about one grant. You're thinking about multiple grants. All right. Now, let's go ahead and get into the types of grants that there are. Now, some of you have been through, are aware of grants. And so I want you to just walk through this process, because the more you learn it, the more you'll know it. All right. And it's been said in educational pedagogies, by the time you get tired of hearing it, you're just now beginning to understand it. By the time you get tired of hearing it, you're just now getting ready to understand it. By the time you get sick and tired of hearing it, you're just now getting ready to what?
Understand it.
There you go. There you go. All right. So instead of only thinking about how you can pay for stuff out of your pocket, you can actually tap into the grant world, which is $144 billion worth of money that's moving at any given time through grants. There are 6 types of grants. Well, 5, and I look at it as 6 types, but we'll go through them. The number one type of grant is foundations. A foundation grant is a grant that comes from an entity that's considered a private foundation. Sometimes they're public charities, but they're foundations, and they have received money from raising funds, from donors. Sometimes they have donor advised funds, but they're receiving grants. Now, y'all did come to learn, not be entertained, right? Okay, all right. So let's go. So foundation grants are grants that come from donors. Sometimes foundations raise money specifically to give it away, but the majority of grants come from foundation grants. All right, from foundations. This might be the Kellogg Foundation, the Mark Zuckerberg Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Coca-Cola Foundation, Kresge Foundation. But in addition to that foundation, there are also local foundations. Each one of your communities has a foundation. If you have, if you're on your device and you want to go to another screen, go ahead and type in the name of your county and the word foundation, and you're going to see what is the community foundation. If you're in Lake County, Indiana, you'll look up Lake County Foundation. If you're in Buncombe County, North Carolina, look up Buncombe County Foundation. It'll really be called the WNC Foundation, Community Foundation, and you'll see it come up. Has anybody identified yet your community foundation? Every one of your communities has a community foundation. Anybody identified your community foundation yet? Smithfield, North Carolina. Just type in Smithfield Community Foundation. Now, if you're in a small city like Smithfield, for example, what's going to come up is the nearest community foundation. It might not say Smithfield, but it's going to come up. So foundation, all right? Your state has foundations. Your state has foundations. Your state foundations are much larger, and they're responsible for the state. Your community foundations are typically responsible for counties or regions. Like there's the Dallas Community Foundation that's responsible for Dallas, and I believe there are 9 counties that are around Dallas that they're responsible for. All right. So these are foundation grants. 65% of all grants come from foundations. And when foundations open up their grant portals, that's what we in the grant world call grant season. Grant season starts in March. However, there are grants that are available all year round. I know that sounds weird, but just stay with me. Grant season is the time when most grants, the majority of grants, are available, and that starts in March. We call that grant season, even though grants are available all year long. All right. So foundation grants is the number one type of grant. After foundation grants, then you have corporate grants. Corporate grants are grants that come from for-profit entities like Walmart, Sears, JCPenney's, TJ Maxx. Those are corporate grants. All right. Grocery stores. Those are corporate grants. Every one of your grocery stores has grants. Every one, not just some of them, every one of your grocery stores had grants, especially if it's a chain grocery store. Now, there are times like your individual mom and pop grocery store, they're not going to have grants, but your chain grocery stores do have grants, and I'll show you how to find them. All right. Matter of fact, let me give myself a note how to find grants. All right. So, after you deal with corporate grants, so you have foundation grants and you have corporate grants. The next type of grant that you're going to see is government grants. All right. Government grants happen on three levels. Your government grants come from three different levels of government. Your first level of government grant comes from from cities. And actually, there are four levels. Cities. So cities have grants. Your city receives taxpayer money. They also receive federal money, and they give part of that money back in the form of grants. The second type of government grant is a county grant, county grants. County grants come from the county, and those grants are raised by when your county applies for grants from foundations, they'll receive the grant and give it to you. The county also receives money from the federal government. Many of the ARPA funds, the COVID money came to your county. Lots of small business grants come to your county. Your county also raises money from foundations. So your county has money that they give out in the form of grants. Your county's grant office is just the name of your county, grants. So if you're in Buncombe County, you would type Buncombe County Grants, and what will come up is the grants manager. Sometimes it's called the Office of Community Partnerships. Sometimes it's called Strategic Partnerships. Sometimes it's called the Grants Office, but it will always be named after your community and the word grants. All right. New York City, you would actually name the borough. For New York City, you'll name the borough. All right. And then state grants. State grants are our third type of government grant. And of course, they come from the state. And then your federal grant comes from the US government. And the US government has lots of different agencies that give out grants. Lots of those grants, or all of them actually, are found on grants.gov. When you go to grants.gov, you're going to find all federal grants, also all federal procurement. So you'll find grants and contracts and bids and everything on grants.gov. All right. So let me go back through these different types of grants so that you can be familiar. You have city grants. They come from your city, and they come from the Community and Economic Development Office. Then you have county grants. They come from your county's grant office. And then you have your state grants and you have federal grants. Each one of these grants are looking for a different type of thing. All right. I want you to stay with me. City grants are looking for you not duplicating services. So if Bob and Sally were in the same city, the city actually wants to see that Bob and Sally are working together or that they're doing something totally different. So when you apply for city grants, you want to make sure that you have something that makes you different, and you want to expressly name that you are not duplicating services. Now, in order to say that honestly, you have to have some sense of what's going on in your community. All right. They also are going to want to know that you're involved in your community. It doesn't matter if you've done it officially or not officially. They want to know that you're involved with your community. Okay. The second type of grant, which is the county grant. When you apply for the county grant, what they're looking for is partnerships and tax savings. They're responsible for receiving property tax. Those property taxes turn into revenue, which end up turning into grant dollars. Counties normally have more money than cities because they're larger. They normally hold the cities, and they're looking for partnerships. Counties are looking for partnerships. Counties are looking for partnerships. What are counties looking for? Counties are looking for, there you go, there you go. Thank you, thank you. All right. Then you have state grants. State grants are looking for something totally different. State grants want to see your partnerships, but they want to see large scale tax savings. And the key to state grants is your U.S. representative. Now, people are not going to tell you this because a lot of the like fools that are online, they just don't know any better, so they don't know. And then there are other people. There are other people that won't tell you because they keep this information for themselves. All right. State grants, they are at the state level. They are generated by taxpayer money. Oftentimes, they are created by state agencies and supported by state representatives. So the key to state grants is partnerships and your state representative. For example, you want to develop partnerships so that you will be able to say you have 20 local partners working on this project. If you have a workforce development program, you want to look at all the different partners that you need. Workforce development is job training. You're training people how to get jobs. So what do you need? You have to look at the whole person. In order to get a job, you need to be trained. In order to be trained, you're going to need a location to come to be trained. In order to come to the location, you might need a bus pass. In order to be successful in the program, you might need help with you might need a domestic violence counselor because you've been living off of a person that's been abusing you or violence towards you. You might also need somebody to help you with court situations. You might need somebody to help you with driver's license restoration. You might need a therapist and a counselor. You might need food. You might need fresh fruits and vegetables because you live in a low-income neighborhood. You might need an advocate. You might need homelessness services. You might need emergency housing. And while you're in the program training, you might also need emergency utility assistance and electricity assistance. Because even if you're living in housing authority and you're paying just $20 a month, you still have an electric bill that might get away from you. You might need help with Christmas gifts or school clothes for the kids or school supplies. Like all of the things you need, you as an individual agency, you do not have to raise all of that money for those things. You can get partners to do them. In fact, one of the agencies that I was in, Lynn worked for me in that agency. We had a partner for each item that we needed. We had a partner that gave us fresh fruits and vegetables, a partner also counseling that came and did counseling for us. We had the public defender's office come in the DA's office. They came to tell us what to do when you get arrested. We had people from DSS come to tell us how to get emergency food stamps and child support advocates to tell some of the people how to stay on top of their child support or get variances so that they didn't get locked up for child support. We also had advocates with the courts and with DMV that would come and tell you how to get driver's license restored. We also had somebody to come and talk about housing. Housing authority would come. They would talk about housing, and they also let us know that when you're on the list for housing authority and you're waiting, you can actually get a roommate that's not related to you so that you can, like, you don't have to wait for a 1-bedroom. You can like just go in with somebody and get on the list and you can have a roommate in housing authority. Not only that, but in housing authority, they have a self-sufficiency program that's duplicated all around the country where once you go in to housing authority, they will help you. If you work with your case manager, they'll help you buy a house on your way out. You can go through the voucher program. You can each one of the things that we needed, we had a partner that supplied it. All right. So when you think about your program, you need partners. What I'd like for you to do right now is just take a quick minute for about 30 seconds and write down all of the different things that you need. Do one thing per line, one thing per line. All right. Get at least 10, all of the things that you need. Of course, you need staff. Of course, you need a building. But what things do you need? Think about the individual. What does that individual need? Is this a single mom that needs mentors for her young boys? Does she need rental assistance? Does she need utility assistance? Does she need clothes to go back to work? We actually had a partnership with the YWCA where they actually, in their drop-in center, they gave free childcare for a certain number of hours per day. And this was not based on a voucher. This is because the child care center got a grant in order to cover the cost. So do your people need child care? Do they need a car? There are programs that give away cars. There was one program called Working Wheels and Wheels for Hope. They would allocate to us each year 4 to 6 cars that were given away. And when we would recommend somebody to them at our graduation, leading up to graduation, we would recommend a student, and that student would receive a car. All right. So I need a volunteer. Well, we got a couple hundred people here. So let me see how I'm gonna do this. All right. I should have known Alina was gonna speak up, but there was a name I saw before yours, Marquita. Marquita, do you mind coming on screen? Unmute Marquita and Lenore.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. So tell me, thank you for coming up and speaking up. Tell me real quickly your program and what you need.
Okay, so I'm still in the phase of kind of honing in on what I'm going to do. What I do for profit is I'm a financial coach, and I provide different financial services. But I saw my nonprofit as a great opportunity to be able to provide that to the community. So what I'll be doing is teaching individuals, families, and then also even business owners the importance of financial empowerment, and then also developing good financial habits, not just selling them services, but how to manage their money, how to organize plans, and then also how to prepare for the future emergencies, and then also increasing their income, just kind of that ladder of wealth building.
All right, all right. And you're at the beginning, so you don't mind me helping you out, right?
Of course not.
All right. So let's go. So the thing that you talked about in the grant world, we call that financial literacy and credit counseling.
Okay.
So when you think about your mission would be something like, I work to empower marginalized communities with financial literacy and credit counseling. Your programs include financial literacy, which is teaching people about finances, credit counseling, which is showing people the proper way to build, use, and protect their credit. And then it might be that you're preparing them from home ownership. All right. So it might be a home ownership program, and that's where you hand them off. So then you have this in stages: financial literacy, which turns into credit counseling, which turns into home ownership. Does that make sense? Oh, are you there? Did I lose? Oh, okay. All right. I see the word yes. Wanted to make sure I didn't lose anybody. All right. So, so what do you need? I'll tell you some of the things that you need. You need computers for your staff to work. You might need cell phones for your staff to communicate with people. You might need textbooks. All right. You might need workbooks. The workbooks can actually be something that you create in your for-profit company, and you sell those books per book to the nonprofit. Now, you would never overcharge the nonprofit. You want to give some discount to the nonprofit, but never ever underestimate the knowledge that you already have. Capture it in a book, workbook form, et cetera, and you can sell it. When there was one program that I was with, each book cost anywhere from $50 to $100 because it was a workbook. And I'll give you all a quick hack. And my last name is Hackett. Let me give you all a quick hack. Do y'all want it?
Yes, sir.
It is actually easier.
Yes.
It is easier to write a workbook than it is to write a reading book. The workbook is driven by questions. You don't actually have to have all of the answers in the workbook. The workbook is your way of creating conversation. So if you already have ideas down, if you already have outlines and worksheets or things that you work from, if you already have the skeleton of a book, you can actually take that book, those ideas, those concepts, and just add some conversational lines. And those lines do not have to be all different. You can say things like, what do you think about this? What do you believe you need to change now? If you change this, what would be better about your life? If you don't change this, what will be worse? And then you teach the next lesson and you say the same thing. What do you think about this? If you change, how would this make your life better? If you don't change, how would this make your life worse?
That's so
And then
awesome.
you go to the next section and you teach another lesson and you ask the same questions. What do you think about this? If you change, how would this make your life better? If you don't, how would it make your life worse? And then you teach another lesson and you ask the same questions. What do you think about this? If you change, how will it make your life better? If you don't change, how will it make your life worse? I did this when I got out of prison. I wrote a reentry curriculum and I sold the book for $100 each. The book cost me $2 to print. The book is 85, 86 pages long, and most of the pages are blank. Can I tell you what many of the pages say? How did you feel about this? What did you think about this? If you change, how will it make your life better? If you don't change, how will it make your life worse? This is called a guided journal. And sometimes people are overlooked and they are devalued because they didn't know how to package their wisdom. I believe that all of you are wise. You just have to package your wisdom the right way. Somebody say, package my wisdom.
Package my wisdom.
All right.
Package my wisdom.
Okay. All right.
Package my wisdom.
So
Ditto.
in the financial literacy world, you're
That's
talking
my
about financial literacy, credit counseling, and home ownership. Financial literacy, because it is not taught in schools, because people are suffering by living in poverty. Credit counseling, because people who are poor are getting more poor because of predatory lending. Not only because of predatory lending, and that's where like you go to the cash advance places and the title loan places, and they charge you 125% APR. That's predatory lending. And high interest rates when you go to the buy here, pay here people. All right. And they let you, get the car and they say no credit check, but they still check your credit and they still report to to the credit bureaus, and they sell a whole bunch of lemons. They mess your credit report up and the car still break down and it don't have warranty because you bought it as is. You get what I'm saying? That's called predatory lending. And then home ownership, because it is documented that home ownership is the number one way to establish individual wealth and generational wealth. So when you own a house, you actually have an investment. Okay. So that's how I would package your stuff. Not only would I package it that way, if I were writing grants for your program, you can actually request the money for staff, the money for the building, the money for the laptops, money for the workbooks. You can also request money for emergency food because you're working with people who live in poverty, experiencing poverty. You might also want to request emergency utility assistance because while they are experiencing poverty, working on their credit and working on their financial literacy, they might need help with things that come up unexpectedly. And you all know when people are living on public assistance, if they make $1 more, now y'all know if they make $1 more than what they're supposed to make, what happens to their assistance? What happens? That's right. It get cut if they make $1 more. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. There was a lady that was in our workforce development program when Lynn worked for me. There was a lady that went through the whole job training program. She was unemployed, had a child, lived in public housing, and she enrolled in our 15-week program and she got employed. And in our region, $13 an hour was considered a living wage, a livable wage. She got a job paying $13 an hour, and then I heard back that she had quit the job after day one. Why do you think she quit the job? Because she had to report it to her case manager that she had got a job. She reported and she was so happy. Oh, I got this job. I finished the program. I got hired. Boom, boom, boom. Everything is good. And the case manager sent her a letter, not the next month, but the end of that very same month, and said that her rent was just going up. Her rent went from $17 to almost $600. She had not even worked enough to receive her first check, and they hiked her rent up. Not because the case manager was being mean, but because that's just how federal regulation go. This is called a benefits cliff. Now, you and I both know that there are some people that are working under the table, not because they're trying to break laws, but because the system is so vicious that if they get one extra dollar, it just mess up everything for them. You get what I'm saying? Have y'all ever seen that phenomenon? That phenomenon is called the benefits cliff. If you've ever seen that phenomenon, maybe you've experienced it where somebody said to you, well, you need to get a job, you need to work. And quite honestly, you're saying, listen, between childcare, transportation, the little bit of money that they're going to pay me, it's not even worth. Like, y'all, come on, for real. You get what I'm saying? Now, this is a judgment-free zone. I don't want y'all to be judging each other because everybody done been there. I'm from North Philly, and my mama had me when she was a teenager, and y'all know what was going on in the 80s. Mama and daddy got caught up in the whole drug and alcohol thing, and everybody was acting a fool, and grandmother raised me for the first couple of years. Y'all don't act strange because y'all grandmamas stepped in for y'all too. You get what I'm saying? And during that time, when my mom got herself together, and my mom been clean for 34 years, and she got clean on my birthday. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's how hard she went for me. She's like, you know what? I'd rather have you than any type of mind-altering substance. But when she got ready to change her life, she had to be smart about it. She had to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. And there were times, y'all understand what I'm saying without me saying it? Y'all see what I'm saying without me saying it? If you get what I'm saying, I don't want nobody to say nothing because there might be some ops in the room. But if you understand what I'm saying, just type one. Just type a one if you understand what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? All right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So people are not lazy. Like, this idea of a welfare queen is a lie. Just because you live in a ghetto don't mean you have to act ghetto. Like, I don't know what it is that makes people assume that just because you don't have a lot of money, you got to look like you came in on the struggle bus. I ain't never looked like I came in on the struggle bus, but I haven't always had a lot of money. You get what I'm saying? And there are times when people go to court. This is documented, y'all. People have gone to court and plead their case. And because they look prosperous at court, the judge gives them a hard time. It has nothing to do with their ability to pay. It's only because there are some people that have this savior mentality. It is documented as a white savior mentality. It is a white supremacist trait. You can look it up. I'm not against white people. I just know what I'm talking about. It is a white supremacist trait that says, I would rather help the poor Black person that acts poor than respect the Black person that don't act poor. It is a microaggression. It is left over from slavery. It was proliferated by the slave master's wife, the mistress, because she wanted her little Negro babies to like her. Now, I said what I said. I'm qualified enough to say it, but that's that. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna get off that soapbox. There is a benefits cliff. The idea of the welfare queen is not real. There is a problem with the system. In fact, there is a book called Regulating the Poor that explains how the American welfare system had nothing to do with causing poor people to no longer be poor. It had everything to do with being a strategy to make rich people more rich and poor people more poor. In fact, welfare is used as a political strategy. And you will notice that inside of each political year, anytime there is a political platform, anytime there's a campaign, a candidacy, an upcoming vote, anytime there's an election season, there will always be messaging about poor people. Why? Because it causes rich people to move. When the stimulus fund happened, how much was the stimulus check? Y'all type it. How much was the stimulus check? Yep, that's the name of the book, Regulating the Poor. How much was the stimulus check? The stimulus check, I'm talking about the 2008 stimulus check. I didn't even know there was a recent one. The stimulus check in 2008 was $600. This one was $1,200. Now, the stimulus check did not go to everybody. It only went to a certain group of people. Guess what people it went to? It only went to a certain group of people. Guess what people it went to? It went to people that were of a lower economic status, people that were in poverty, people that were poor. Why did it go to those people? Because the whole country is being driven by the spending habits of poor people. And the problem is that we run into a problem when we no longer give poor people just stuff, but we give poor people information. Isn't it real interesting how the government had no problem giving us malt liquor and 40s and giving us and giving us deep fried foolishness at the corner store and giving us billboards advertising cigarettes that kill folks. You get what I'm saying? They had no problem giving us that, but they wouldn't put a library in the neighborhood. They gave us no problem. They had no problem giving us more police officers, but they have a problem giving us more parks and green spaces. They have no problem giving us foolishness and gang violence and dumping guns and drugs into poor neighborhoods. But when they decided they wanted our property, they knew exactly what to do. They hiked up the taxes, moved us out. It's called gentrification. And they never even told us about grants. They never even told us. There are people, I have 3 degrees, 3 of them, and not one school, not one university. I have 3 degrees and 2 certificates. And not one time did they teach me how to find and write a grant. I wonder why. I wonder why. And grants have been around since the turn of the century. Lord, I'm just way out there. It's all right. I'm just saying that who was it? Keith Sweater, I'll be sure. Something, 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 something just ain't right. Y'all remember that song? It just ain't right. Something, 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 something just ain't right. Anyway, Keith Sweat. Yeah, Keith Sweat is always whining. But anyway, my point is, do not buy into the idea that people are lazy because they're poor. Maybe they're lazy because the system is working against them. Maybe, just maybe, if you thought about when you didn't have as much money and you were trying to work, there were some things that you had to do to just make it. All right. This is called the benefits cliff. When you make $1 more, they just drop all your support. But when you're working with people that are living in poverty, you want to create a benefits ramp or a benefits bridge. And you can bridge that gap using grants. You can use grants to pay for the child care. You're not going to be able to use the grants to give them money, because once they get the money, that money is going to be taxes, considered income. This is not financial advice, tax advice. But my experience has shown that that's what happens, and it messes up their benefits. But if you can purchase the thing for them, then they get a voucher. You can purchase the thing for them and just give them the car, give them the transportation, give them the food. All right. The only thing I have never seen a grant pay for is child support. But if we help you get a job and we helping you with food and utilities and rent assistance, I think by then you can pay your child support. The grants can actually get you a child support advocate and all that stuff. All right. So let's move on. So if you're in the financial literacy world, that's how I would frame it. Financial literacy, credit counseling, and home ownership. All right. Lenora, you were up next. Tell me what your program is and what things you need. I promise not to go so far off or so far in.
I'm sorry, I'm having issues. I'm all the way up in the mountains and we don't have really good connectivity.
Okay.
What I do is early childhood education, which it's amazing what you're talking about, because you try to fix one problem and then you run into another problem and another problem. So When I
Right.
first retired from the university, I came to a little place called Raton, New Mexico, which is at the border of Colorado and New Mexico. And at the time when I first came, we had 9 high school graduates.
Mm.
And it just shocked me. And so when I started looking deeper, it turned out that we had a lot of young women getting pregnant, quitting school. Then they went on to food stamps, they went into housing, and they just never left the system for generations.
Right.
And so I started back at the root level. So then I went into the elementary school to make sure that they were getting the reading material that they were able to read, and then got the parents involved, and then started a program where I got the parents in the GED, and then the ones who finished the GED, I was able to get a grant to get them into college classes. And so, it hasn't, in a situation like this, the next step, and you gave me so many ideas, is they need transportation. You are right. Once they start making money and get a job, then they lose their housing, they lose their SSI, they lose their, all the
Mhm.
medical care that they need. So some of them just say, well, I'll just stay home. So I've gotten more involved with the city council.
Right.
I'm heavily involved now with the Congress people. When they come to town, I'm the first person they call.
Mhm.
I'm involved now with the city, and I'm approving grants. They taught me how to approve grants. So now I'm seeing what they're looking for in grants at the state to federal level. So
Right.
now, from what I've learned from you, because I've been writing grants to like 2018, but they've been like 4,000, 8,000, 12,000. It hasn't been like in the millions. And
Mhm.
so the state of New Mexico has, I think, $2 billion in excess funds, and they're putting, I think, I sent you the booklet of what they were doing for training and
Mhm.
early childhood education, and I think I can wrap all that into one
Yes.
bridge program.
Yeah. So
So,
what the way you would do it, depending on what side you want to be on, if you are a community agency providing support to students and families, then you can actually request money for all of those things because you've seen how all of those things work together. When they're absent, they're working against the youth and the family and the
right, right.
when they're in place, they work for it. So if I were you, I would actually build a correlation, which is very known. The information is out there. You just have to state it in for your much larger
Yes.
brand. Say,
I did find what you were talking about before, where every city will list um, their poverty level, their
yep,
economic level, and so I'm now using their own words in the grant
that's
to make
exactly what
sure
you
that,
do.
which I'm trying to make sure that I'm responding to their need, and I'm not making up what I want. I'm kind of like rephrasing exactly what they just said they wanted. So I'm hopeful that things will turn around and I can get a community center open. Right now, I'm working from out the house, and I do bridge the gap between the other agencies,
Mhm.
um, because I'm one person. I started off with a group like about 12 retired. I had a couple of teachers and a couple of retired principals and stuff, but most of them have passed. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm the one person standing, and I'm like,
So
I,
this
I
is what
have
I
to,
recommend you do. Of
yeah,
course, keep doing what you're doing, but you're going to have to add something in order to get that center built or
yeah,
purchased or renovated. That's a capital grant. Um, and capital grants are when you renovate, buy, purchase, et cetera. You've already done some of the research and you're already familiar. The only thing I would add is an economic impact. How much would it cost the community if we do nothing? If we do not
yes,
educate our children, then they'll likely go to prison. How much does it cost
yeah.
for a prison?
Well,
A prison is
they just spent
$33,000.
$11 million building a prison when
You
we
have
de
to
we have
state.
a school that was built in the 20s,
Mhm.
and the heating system is being run
Yeah.
by a locomotive engine. So it's like, did we really need a prison, or did we really need a new school?
Yeah. You're
So
going to have to say that in your applications. Say
yeah,
it over and over so that you can justify. If you say we spent 11 million on this, I'm only asking for a couple 100,000.
Yeah.
Our program, what we did, and then I'm gonna go on with the next part. And our program, what we did, because we knew that we were serving people that lived in poverty, people that were homeless, experiencing homelessness. We knew that it cost $18,200 per year for a homeless person to go to the emergency room. That's the rate at which they were going to the emergency room. So we took that number and said, if we serve 100 of them, then now that's $1.8 million. Then when we looked at the incarceration rate, for people to be incarcerated costs about $30,000 per year. And the recidivism rate was 80%, which means if you go in, when you come out of prison, when you come out, there's an 80% chance of you going back in. 8 out of 10 went back in. But in our program, for every 100 people, we only had one person to go back in, which means
Oh,
that we were
wow.
saving taxpayers money. You know what I'm
Yes, I
So
see
when I
your
put
point.
it in the grant application as part of my statement of need, now it validates the amount of money I'm requesting. So when I request $200,000, it's because I'm saving the community $3 million.
Okay,
All right.
I got
All
it.
right. So let's go on to some shortcuts. Are y'all ready for some shortcuts?
Yes.
All right. So the first shortcut, the shortcut on how to find grants. I want you to open up a screen, whether you're looking on your phone or your computer. Open up a screen, and I want you to type the name of your the name of your city and grocery stores. The name of your, don't name the grocery store, just type the name of your city and the word grocery stores. I'm going to show you this. This is the Adidas grant I was working on. Adidas grant, you can get Adidas grant with a 2-page letter. So I'm writing you a 4-page, well, for Adidas, it's just a 2-page letter. All right. Give me a city. Well, name of a small city like Smithfield. It doesn't matter how big or small your city is, type in your city. So we have Harris Teeter, Walmart, Food Lion. All right. So if I were doing this, I would take Harris Teeter and I would type in the word grant. And there you go. Harris Teeter grants. And there it is. All right. What was the other one? Food Lion? Food Lion grants. Their program is called Food Lion Feeds. All right. What was the other one? Walmart. Of course, you all know about the Walmart grant, but just in case you didn't, Walmart has a grant. Walmart has a grant. Their grant cycle opens March 1st. It'll be accepted on a quarterly basis. These are the deadlines. They give a maximum of $5,000. And you can have, look at how many of these you can get. Organizations may only have a combined total of how many? Y'all see that number? Y'all scared of it? $25. What is 25 times 5,000? $25 times 5,000. That's 125K. How many of y'all could use that? Say me. All right. So then you have the eligibility. The eligibility is a lot of words, but simple as it is, you need to be a 501c3. Okay. All right. Let's look at another city. Let me see. Somebody type in another city real quick. East Point. What was that? Taquisha? Oh, Taisha. Taisha. East Point. What is East Point? East Point what? Oh, Madeline, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm from North Philly, actually. East Point, Bronx, East Point, Lord. East Point, Michigan. East Point, Michigan grocery stores. Fresh Choice Marketplace, Aldi's, A&B Wine Shop. What? Y'all got a lot of grocery stores. Let me see. All right. So you go to the next screen and type in Aldi's. Aldi's grants. And here's the Aldi grant program. All right. Give me another city. Snellville, Georgia. Walmart, Kroger. All right. So you just type in the name. All right. Y'all see that? That's amazing, ain't it? This is every one of them. Every city has things, and all of it is available to you. Now let's do another shortcut. Banks. Every bank is required by law to give money back to the community. Every single bank. Every bank in the country is required based on the Community Reinvestment Act. They're required to give money back to the community. They're required to give it back. Now they get to determine how they give it back, but they all are required to give it back. Now, I hope y'all are ready for this, because I'm getting ready to tell you, like some people, they open bank accounts and they're only doing business on one side of their bank. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Every bank is required to give money back through the Community Reinvestment Act. All right. Somebody or everybody, just type in the name of your city. Type in the name of your city, and let's see what banks are there. If you're on your own screen, and I want you to take action, do it now. I mean, this is, y'all know what? Lord, I already kept y'all a whole hour, and I'm really just getting started. All right. Colorado Springs banks. Let's do a part two. Colorado Springs banks. All right. Herring Bank, In Bank. Yep. So what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna type in Herring Bank grants. I've never even heard of Herring Bank. I've never even heard of it. But this is their grant program. All right. Let's look at, what was that one, in kind? What was that other one called? In bank. I never heard of it, but let's see. In bank. In bank. All right. Let's look at Wells Fargo. Here's the Wells Fargo grant. All right. Let's look at Bank of America. There's Bank of America. All right. I can do this all day. What is give me another bank, PNC Bank. All right. There's one. And what about First Bank? All right. There's First Bank. What about US Bank? Do y'all see this? Oh Lord, somebody done type Truist. I love Truist. They're my friends. Truist Bank grants. There's their application. When you apply for the Truist grant, they tell you ask for everything you're going to need for 3 years because they only award you once every 3 years. First Citizens Bank. So people aren't going to tell you this. They're not going to give you this information, maybe because they don't know, maybe because they're trying to keep it for themselves. But what each one of you can do, you can actually list on your, you can take a piece of paper or an Excel spreadsheet and just list all the banks and then just type in such and such bank grant, the website that comes up, put it in the box. Website comes up, put it in the box. Website comes up, put it in the box. And then for grocery stores, you just do the same thing. What about retail? Remember, I told y'all there were corporate grants. Let's look at Target. All right. This is the Target grant. Look at Target grant. Matter of fact, Target, you can get a grant the same day. You can get a Target grant the exact same day. Somebody said, Coles, y'all playing with me, ain't you? KHOLS grant. Somebody, y'all trying me? Y'all trying me? I kind of like it. Challenge. All right. Coles grant. What else? What you want? Ross grants. Oh Lord, that's hood. That's grants for houses. That's the Ross grant. Yes, Tarjay got grants. Y'all know who else got grants? Neiman Marcus. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm having too much fun. I'm having way too much fun. I'm having too much fun. But I bet you ain't no grants from y'all utility companies like Duke Energy. Somebody said Verizon. I got to get over this part. This is fun part. This is like all icing and no cake. Verizon grants. You see it? Anything. Y'all playing with me. DTE Energy. I don't know where that is. Might be the neck of butt crack. But when I say everywhere, y'all got to know I mean everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Y'all know what? Nordstrom's grants. Y'all see it? Do y'all see it? Y'all stop playing with me. No, I'm a boss. Please. Do these grants apply to only nonprofit organizations? Can businesses apply for them? I just joined, so please pardon me if these have been answered. Most grants are available for nonprofits. There are more grants available for nonprofits than there are for for-profits, but there are grants available for both. Okay? There are grants available for both. Yep. Car dealerships. What do you mean, like Mercedes? There it is. Yep. Yeah, we ain't about to sit through no Mercedes commercial. Or maybe Ford grants. Ford, you got to be careful because sometimes it'll pull up Ford Motor Company, sometimes it'll pull up Ford Foundation. But look at them. Their grants are right there. What about Nissan? You know what? All right, I'm gonna stop. But I'm really not. Let's look at what about hospitals? Put in the name of your hospital. What's the name of your hospital? Name of your hospital. There are grants are everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay. Hotels, let's see. Like Marriott Hotel, let's see. Let's just check and see. Now, this is what I do for fun, and it might be a boring life to some of y'all, but it brings money. All right, free money, money that you don't have to pay back. Marriott grants. There you go. Community stewardship, hospitality, medical research, and education. If you were going after a hotel grant, let's say you were doing a senior citizenship, a senior citizens home or a day center, you can apply for the Marriott grant for community stewardship or for hospitality, caregivers and people like that. Maybe you're doing a job training program and you can and you are going to train people to work in the hospitality industry. All right. Yeah. I was watching a past show with a grandson and wrote the Sloan Foundation and got a small grant. Yes, I'm telling you that just for fun, this is the shortcut. Shortcut number one, you can type in the name of any company and the word grants, any city and the word grants. Home Depot, yeah. Home Depot grants, they want to pay for buildings. It's up to $50,000. But there it is. All right. So now, that's enough of that. So let's move on. Because it's one thing to know that the grant exists. Now, how many of you want to know how to get it? You want me to tell you what to write? If you're ready for me to tell you what to write, you got to say ready. Got to type one. Say something. Let me know that you want me to tell you what to write. Yeah, I want to tell you. I just want to make sure y'all still with me. Because I've been waiting all day long to talk to y'all. I've been waiting all day to talk to y'all. Oops. All right. So let's go. I want you to write down these numbers. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. When you're writing grants, you need to have one mission statement, one statement. Okay? There's one thing that you're going to do. All right? You need to have 3 activities, and you need to have 5 partners. One thing, 3 activities, 5 partners. If I'm doing a program, a homelessness services program, I want to get people off the street. That's my one thing. Then I have 3 services. Then I need 5 partners. All right. So the one thing is provide. I want to be a solution for homelessness in my area. All right. I need 3 partners. 3 partners. 3 activities. And those activities include outreach, because I got to go and talk to the homeless people and find out what they need. Activity number 2 is I need money for the shelter. Then number 3, I need money for case managers to help find out what's going on and connect people to services. All right. 1 program, 3 activities, 5 partners. Now, even though you might do a whole bunch of stuff, the formula is 1 program, 3 services, 5 partners. 1 program. How many programs? 1. How many services? 3. How many partners? 5. So if I am a homelessness services provider, then I have my 1 program, I have my 3 services, which is outreach, housing, and case management. Then I need 5 partners. I want you all to type one of the partners, if everybody would type one of the partners that I would need for my homelessness services program. One of the partners that I would need for my program. All right. Let's see. I need social worker. Yes, that's a partner. I need true trust. I don't know if that's at trust or truest, but I need realtors. That's right. I need food. That's right. I need Salvation Army. So let's go with it. My partner is the grocery store. My partner is Salvation Army. I have partners with the therapist. I have partners with Housing Authority. I have partners with the bus station, have partners with the doctors, have partners with Home Depot, have partners with the utility services, have partners with the job training program, have partners with the domestic violence program, partners with the public defender's office. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Everything that a person needs, you have a partner for it. These partners are called stakeholders. These partners are called stakeholders. All right. You need 5 of them for each grant application. Sometimes you'll have space for more, but you're going to need the strongest 5. All right. Now, I've been going for a bit. Let's pause for questions before I go into some more shortcuts. Because it gets much faster and much better.
Hello, Coach. This is Shanice. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
So, as you know, as I spoke about this before, I have a domestic violence. I have a domestic violence nonprofit. However, I want to start doing something with support groups. I noticed when I've done support groups with the ladies, it really helped them impact a lot of stuff. So, what would my support groups look like? Monday we could talk about domestic violence. Tuesday we could probably talk about how to be a parent, or something. How is it to whatever it is, parenting.
Yeah. I get
The,
it.
the
So
third
what you
one
want to
could
do
be
is
the third one could be something like loss. Some people have lost a husband,
grief and
wives, or
loss, how to
right,
deal
grief.
with it. Right.
Yes.
So I'll answer it this way. What you want to do is really just take a piece of paper or the notes section on your phone and list out all the problems that somebody would be facing. They might be living in a domestic violence shelter. They might be coming out of domestic violence situation. Some of them might be in it right now. And from what I've heard from people that have dealt with it, they know they need to leave, but they're not ready just yet. You get what I'm saying? And they need support that can help them plan their escape or getting out or how they deal with it or whatever. But you want to list all of the things that they need, all the stuff that they need to talk about. These groups are called facilitated support groups. Sometimes they're also called peer support groups. And you can charge to a grant up to about $150 per hour based on that topic. One session per topic, and you just schedule it out. And you will write in the grant application, I would like to have 50 groups covering these 50 topics for people in domestic violence or escaping domestic violence. Each session is an hour and a half, which means I need about $200 per session for 50 sessions. That means I need $10,000. What else do you need? You need money to pay for the rental space. What else do you need? You need money for emergency supplies. What else do you need? You need money for staff. So quickly and easily, that support group program comes up to $50,000. That's not including the other things that you might want to do for the program. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'm going to go in this order. Dawn, then Viola, then Denise, then Bricky, then Tamika, then Megan. I'm going to say them again in that order. Somebody type it so I don't lose it. Dawn, Viola, Denise, Bricky, Tamika, then Megan. Don't worry about spelling, and please, nobody correct them. I just want to make sure I get to everybody. All right.
Quick question. I know you went over all the places to get grants, but I just want to get a clarity. The credit unions do not give out grants, correct?
That is correct. Credit unions give out what's called sponsorships. And oftentimes those sponsorships are only $500, unless when you get that $500 sponsorship, you go and meet with them, make them your partner, because they do like to put their name on community buildings.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Next, Viola.
Hi, Coach. So
Hey.
my question is, if you've never won a grant before and you're just starting, do you have to win like several small ones before you can go after the bigger grant? Or can you just go
You
bigger as a dollar
don't
amount?
have to. There's no requirement to go after smaller grants first. But when you go after bigger grants, they're going to want to know that you also are going after other grants. So
Okay.
you never ever go after just one at a time.
Mhm.
For example, all of you should be writing 10 grants this week. You should be
Okay.
writing. So next week, when you look at grant number 11 and they ask, name the other grants that you are going after, you should be able to list the other 10 that you're going after.
Okay.
All right. So you
Thank
do
you.
not have to wait, and you do not have to start small. I tell people apply for everything.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Next is Bricky.
Hello.
Hello.
You said that most of the grants are for nonprofits. Can you talk about grants that are for businesses that are not nonprofit, or is that a whole nother session?
There are just more grants for nonprofits than there are for profits, but I can talk about it briefly. I will talk about it a lot more later. When you're writing a grant for a for-profit company, when you're writing a grant and you want money for your for-profit company, that's called a for-profit grant. You have to know that it has its own tax treatment, et cetera. Your CPA, the tax professional, will be able to handle that. But when you're writing for a for-profit grant, the emphasis is not on 1-3-5, one program, 3 activities, 5 partners. For-profit grants don't care very much about that. For-profit grants care about the owner, the owner or the founder, their journey, and what they want to do for the community. These grants are often between $1,000 and $10,000, 10 being very high, and they're also very competitive. What I always recommend is that a for-profit founder should actually also create a nonprofit to house their community activities. So when that for-profit company wants to do a food drive or a community giveaway or a back to school thing, they can do that out of the for-profit. I mean, they can do that with nonprofit money, with grant money instead of coming out of their pocket. But for-profit grants can be used for staff, equipment, etc. I receive for-profit grants all the time for my coffee shop. And when you're writing a for-profit grant, they're going to ask you, and you want to be really good at talking about the founder, which is yourself, the journey, which is what you overcame, and the community impact. Are you creating jobs for the community? Are you in a impoverished community, a gentrified community? Are you the only Black-owned business, a woman-owned business, a person with disability who owns a business? What did you overcome? Were you a high school dropout? Were you a single mom? Did you do this working through the night while you were working during the daytime? So that's the approach for for-profit grants.
Okay.
And we teach all of them. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Next, Tamika.
Good
And-
evening. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, thank you so much for this valuable information. I have two questions. The first question would be when you said something about the 5 partners. So when we are applying and writing a grant, do we have to get a statement from the partners to include in the application of the grant?
Sometimes you do. The statement is called a letter of support.
Okay, so will they have to fill that out?
It's actually them writing it, but you give them a template.
Okay,
You give them a template and you say, this is what I needed to say. Please edit, sign, and return.
okay,
That's a letter of support. Now, some organizations do not ask you to upload those letters. So you don't have to, but you
Okay.
do want to have real partnership with them. The partnership might be very deep. The partner might be just shallow and momentary, but you never, ever, ever want to, nor do you ever need to lie. If you are running a young ladies mentorship program and the local store gives you clothes, like Target gives you money, gave you a grant, a gift card, then that is your partner.
okay,
You don't have to know the manager deeply. You don't have to go into the store and throw parties with the staff, but they have helped you do your work. They're a partner.
right. Okay, second question. I know you had offered back here at a conference, your services. So if we do sign up for your services, do you work with individuals one-on-one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Next, Megan, then Marianne. And I think that's it. Megan?
Oh, coach. I'm not sure you're going to want to deal with this one right now, but I'm trying to write that USDA grant.
Ooh, Lord.
I'm also writing the Rio Tinto right now for the mine, but that USDA grant's kicking my booty and it's due tomorrow and I don't know what to do. So
Why in the world are you here?
Well, because I was hoping to get something. I want to talk to you, man.
Okay, all right. Y'all, USDA grant is a federal grant. Sometimes they're state pass-throughs, but there's lots of documentation.
Yes.
But it's okay. Since you're here, let's go. Shoot.
Okay. All right. So it keeps asking for the budgetary stuff, but it's asking me about how many people in this population is it gonna, and it's how many people in the population is it gonna help? But the program is for 600 people. It's a universal income, like basic income program paired with an IDA program at the bank. I partnered with the bank in town.
Independent development account. Individual
Yeah,
development
deposit account. Yeah.
deposit.
So the bank's going to match it at the end of the year. So they're required to,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
$500 universal basic income. And then they have to be required to save at least minimum of $100. They can save the whole thing if they want, but the bank will match whatever they save at the end of the year.
What's the maximum of the grant?
Well, it's 4 million.
4 million. So then, of course, you just go up to 4 million. You have to, if you're serving 600 people, let's do 4 million divided by 600. And these types of grants normally expect about 3 to 5,000. Hold on, 4. Lord, now Megan, we about to bore the people with these numbers.
I know, that's what I was saying. We can do this
It's
tomorrow
okay.
morning if you
It's
want.
all right. Somebody in here is going to want to go after a federal or a state grant, a large multi-million-dollar grant. You're going to need to know. So $4 million comes up to about 6,600 each, which is fine. When they ask how many people this will impact, this is because they're going to use the information that you learn from the grant, and they're going to apply it to legislation years down the road.
All right. Okay.
All right. So when they say, how many will this impact? You can actually put in your narrative, this will impact 600 people, will impact 600 families. If each family has 2.5 children, then now we're impacting to 2.5, we're impacting 1,200 people plus the 600. That's 1,800 people. And then because it's a USDA grant, they're going to ask you for census tract data.
Right. Yep. I did that already. I did the mapping.
And so you're just going to name that. Don't be afraid of the numbers because the federal grants want the numbers.
Okay.
They want the numbers and the documentation to go with it.
Okay. I'm scared, but okay. I'm going for it anyway.
And you should definitely, because is the page limit 20? Not include the attachments, 20?
Yes.
Yeah. You're going to want to, as you work the sections, pay close attention to the evaluation criteria, because they'll tell you how many points for each section and how much space you need for each section.
Oh, crap.
And I would feed that into ChatGPT.
Ooh,
now, I hope you have my how to use AI for grant writing.
You know I do.
All right. So I explained there, when you take a chunk of writing and you put it in there and just tell it to shrink it to whatever. And then you just go with it.
All right. I'm doing it. So yay,
All
team.
right. This is exactly what I told Nainwa, and he got 3.8 million.
I know, that's why I'm here.
I'm here.
That's right.
Hey, thanks,
I'll see you guys
Coach.
tomorrow morning.
Hey, what's up, Nainwa? You can say hi to the folks.
Hi.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I just turned in my 74 million NOAA grant. It was 584 pages, 28 nonprofits, and 74 million. So we'll see in June, July if we get it. But that thing kicked my butt, man. 3 months of no sleep.
Man, but you got it in.
There's
some people that are some people are so afraid, you know what I mean, to go after big stuff. So I'm glad you did it. And we're gonna keep our fingers crossed. We're expecting it to come through. And if for any reason you're not awarded, make sure you get that score sheet and go right back after it.
Yep, will do. Thanks, Coach.
All right now. All right. Next is Marianne. Megan, go ahead and lower your hand for me. Marianne, then Diana. And I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much for the chance to ask this question. So the first one I wanted to find out is, will we get a replay? I joined like an hour late because I was still working. But I think I missed something in the beginning.
Oh yeah, you probably missed a lot.
Yeah.
But replays will definitely be available. We'll talk about all that at the end. But just get in where you fit in. We're gonna keep going, and you'll definitely be able to apply the rest of it. But you did miss some. You'll be able to go back and listen to it. But you'll be fine, I promise.
Then the second question I had, I think you already answered. Someone had asked whether or not when you talked about the one program, 3 activities, and 5 partners, I also had the same question. Do I have to get some kind of documentation for the partners? But you already said yes, some kind of letter. So
you do not have to get documentation in order for them to be your partner. But there are grants that will ask you for letters of support.
That's the letters of support. Okay. Okay, good. Then the final question I had, you had mentioned we're going to try and write a grant at the end of it by next week. So this is my first time joining the Zoom. Oh, 10. Oh boy. Okay.
That's what I said. But we'll go with 1. Go ahead.
So my question is, I've never done this. This is my first time joining you and all that stuff. So how do we get that kind of guidance on how to write one?
Oh, I'm going to show you.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for. It's fine. It's fine. Y'all do know I'm the best at what I do.
Yes.
It's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for speaking up. We are going to write one tonight. It was going to be an easy one.
Okay.
But I'm going to show you how. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And there was one more. I don't remember that. Diana. Or was that Diana? No, that was Mary Ann. All right, Diana. Okay. Denise. Oh, no. All right. One of y'all speak up, or I'm going to go right on.
I had a question. This
Okay.
is
Who is this?
Denise.
Denise. All right. I apologize. I messed your name up.
You're okay. So I'm actually new to this as well. It would be my first time writing a grant, but one of the things that I'm trying to bring to my organization is wraparound services.
Yes.
And a pantry. So I have the pantry in place, but with the wraparound services, I was wondering, could I only go through DHS, or is there someone else? Okay, you're shaking your head like no.
Oh, of course
Okay,
not.
so what other other options could I go with besides them? Because I only was able to find that one program. It's going to be based out of Arlington, Texas, and that particular community where it's stationed, that it's more of like the lower end. So I was just trying to obtain as many services, and I also am a counselor, so I can kind of, I don't want to cross, but I can kind of see how it works in between wraparound services and providing the services for those.
Right. So let's go with this. When you look at the person that you're serving, that person has lots of different needs, and you've identified them as wraparound services, right? You're not looking for one grant. You're looking for a grant to meet each need. So if you have 5 if you have 5 needs, you're looking for at least 5 grants.
Okay.
A grant for food, a grant for utilities, a grant for mentorship, a grant for travel and expenses, like you're taking them to museums or something like that to give them exposure, a grant for tutors and education, a grant for cell phones, a grant for laptops, a grant for clothes so they can get jobs, a grant for staff so they can train for jobs. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I was also trying to implement job coaching as well on the site. So where they can just kind of do a one-stop shop. So pantry, job coaching services, resume building. So I understand I have to get someone in case management on site as well.
Yeah.
So I can help them.
So write down
bus
this
service.
list of where you want to look for grants from.
Okay.
Grocery stores,
Yes, sir.
utility companies. That's the electric company. The hospital, type in the name of your hospital and the word foundation. The school system, if the school system is called Arlington Schools, then you type school foundation grants. Whatever your school system is for everybody, whatever your school system is, you type in the name of that school system, foundation grants. All right. Of course, you want to go for your city and your county, but those will require more paperwork. Less paperwork, more money, easier documentation is banks. All right. And I would also encourage you to have an event that you can get people to sponsor, and that'll give you more money. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So you're welcome. You're welcome. For everybody, bye. For everybody, one of the worst things you can do is only look for your person's type of grant in one location. You have to look at the pieces of that person. I think with Lettucey, pieces of me. You got to look at the pieces. People are multidimensional, so you want to look for all of the pieces, okay? All right. Was there one more question, and then we're going to go on. That's Angela Brooks.
Hi, Coach. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm working, so I'm gonna try to sneak in my question real quick. You talked a little bit about what I do already. I don't know if you remember this name, but the name of my business is called the Clarissa Project, and it is an independent living facility. Yes,
Been a
you know
long
who
time.
connected us.
Uh-huh.
And so I am working on the nonprofit side, like you suggested to me, but I'm trying to get some for-profit grants in the interim. I was listening to what you said. I did take some notes. I do have somebody else taking some notes for me because I'm working, but in listening to how to write the grant. So, all of my residents have income either through SSI, SSDI, through an exit program with the jail, or they have some type of income. I'm not a homeless provider in the sense that I run a homeless shelter. So all of my houses are actual houses, or they're duplexes or quadplexes or something like that.
Right.
So the services that I need when you mentioned serving the multiple parts of the person is I partner primarily with hospitals and their case management programs. So hospitals will call me and say, I have a 30-year-old male, and he's going to be discharged tomorrow. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Can you take him? So I do my assessment. Part of my questions are first about their income, and I try to house them according to other people their age. And everybody is independent. So I don't provide transportation. You have to be medication compliant if you are on medication. I'm not cooking for these people, nothing.
That's right.
But
Independent.
yes. So in the city I live in, though, we have specialties. Like we have HAPWA, the program that helps people with AIDS. And I'm getting a lot of phone calls for people who are, and I'm going to say it wrong, and I hope I don't offend anybody, the LBG, the alphabet people. Yes, thank you. I want to be able I'm in like the Orlando, Florida area. So that's really, really big here.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out how do I serve specific niches?
All right. So I've had transitional homes before that started as recovery, and then when the pandemic hit, we added reentry, and then more and more state jails started to release people, and they contacted us because there was a person that was born male but presented as female, and was in a male prison, but they were getting out. They had to deal with looking like a female, being in a male prison, and they were asking if we would respect this person's presentation as female. So we talked to the ladies in the house, and they were fine, and so we brought them in. You want to become registered, whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, but register with the National Association of Recovery Residences. They will give you a designation, level 1, 2, 3, or 4. As an independent living home, you would probably be similar to an Oxford House at level 1. But what that does, it gives you more credential so that you can charge more, and it'll give you more respect. Having a niche house is good. A specialty home is good. If we had more staff, we would have opened up a place for transgendered people to be, so they could be comfortable and so that their needs could be met accordingly. When we grew to 3 units, we started to separate people, no longer by male, female only, but we started to separate them by their backgrounds. And that way we're able to provide that type of program in there. So it was so our recovery focus program had we would take the whole house to the NA or the AA meetings. The reentry focus program, we didn't go to any program meetings. Everything was about get a job, go to work, get a job, go to work, get a job, go to work,
Yeah.
get a job, go to work, volunteer, get a job, go to work, volunteer, get a job, go to work, volunteer.
And see, my people already have income. So I don't have to worry about the get a job part. I need you to keep a job,
Yeah,
stay
keep a job
clean.
and go to work. You also
Right. And then
want
when
to
they're
connect.
coming out of jail or out of the hospital, they may not have an ID. So, when you can't get an ID unless you have a residence. And so that's one of the first things we do is establish residency for them so that they can get other programming.
There are 2 critical partners you're going to need, and then we'll move on. One is your hospital based on the social determinants of health, and the other is the CAO, Community Action Opportunities. Community Action Opportunities is in every region. It is a quasi-governmental organization. That means part government, part public. They receive a lot of money, and their money can only be used for people that already have a job and are seeking economic mobility. One of the problems that most folks have going into those programs is that they don't have a job and they're trying to get into the LifeWorks program or the support program. But CAO is very particular, and they like to and prefer to only work with people that already have jobs, and they help them become more stable. And this is one of the ways in which you can lighten the load off yourself by having CAO as a partner, and you can still claim the progress because they are your program partner.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. Katora?
Yes, I just had a question about like if a nonprofit wanted to travel more for like international missions trips and or music projects that might accompany that. Was there funding for things like that?
Yes, there is, but separately. There is very little money available for mission trips. I rarely, if ever, see grants for mission trips, but you can do sponsorships for mission trips. Separate from that, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of grants for artists, visual arts, performing arts, vocal arts, painting, drumming, even DJs and rap music, sculpture, writing. All of that is art. And there are so many arts-focused grants that when I started to tell people about them, there are lots of artists that did not qualify because they did not consider themselves artists. For example, there was one grant that would pay an artist for all of the shows that he or she booked and were canceled. It paid them for that. However, they had to submit the flyers. There's one grant that I saw that required you to be a documented artist. That just means that you have to be incorporated. And these are for-profit business, for-profit grants. They did not have to be nonprofits to get it. But a lot of people are not registered as they haven't registered their stuff as artists, which means they haven't incorporated. Their online social media doesn't present them as artists. They sing, but they don't advertise it as tour dates. They don't have a story behind their art. And these are things that I would encourage people, especially you, to do. Post a schedule of when you're supposed to be going somewhere. Incorporate your work, your vocal work as art. And that gives the funding source something to give into. But there is a lot of money available for artists. A lot. And if I were an artist, I would actually connect my art to history, and especially Black or Brown history. Yep. All right. All right, let's go on. I have a pop quiz for you. Tell me, when writing a grant, I want to know, what is the 1-3-5 principle? Type it, don't say it. 1 mission, 1 program, 3 services, 5 partners. All right. Now, every grant has 3 sections. Every grant has 3 sections. Those 3 sections of a grant are the statement of need, the program design, the outcomes. 3 sections of a grant are statement of need, program design, and outcomes. 3 sections of the grant, statement of need, program design, and outcomes. 3 sections of the grant are statement of need, program design, and what's the third one? There you go. Statement of need, program design, and outcomes. Okay. So when you're writing a grant, you actually need to start at the end. Don't start at the beginning. You start with the outcomes. The outcomes is the change in condition. The outcomes is the change in condition. The outcomes is the change in condition. All right. What is the outcomes? The change in condition. All right. We don't want to know in the outcomes. We're not talking about what kind of work you put into it. We don't care how much work you put into it. The outcomes is the change in condition. How did people change in condition? What was the change? Did they learn more? Are they more stable? Did they get their GED? Have they saved money? Did they start their business, etc.? That's the outcome. The outcome answers the question, what? Outcome answers the question, what? What changed? Outcome answers the question, what changed? Outcomes answer the question, what changed? Outcomes answer the question, what changed? Outcomes answers what? I don't see nobody hands doing my little quotation marks. Outcomes answer the question. All right. Then the next section of the grant is the program design. This is where you put your 3 activities. Your program design. The program design answer the question, how it changed. Answer the question, how it changed. Answer the question, how it changed. Program design answer the question. I still didn't see no hands. I'm about to slap somebody. The program design answer the question. Get y'all hands up. How it changed. I'm talking to you, Rosalind Lee. I've been staring at you with your pretty hair. I wanted to see your little rabbit fingers. The program design.
How it changed.
Thank you, madam. How it changed. All right. So this is where you put your 3 activities. Okay. Let's say we have an after-school program. You have an after-school program. Your outcome is, I want people to finish school. The change in condition is they'll finish school, they have better grades, etc. Right? That's the end result. That's the change in condition. How are you going to do that? You're going to have tutoring, you're going to have recreation, and you're going to have health and wellness. All right? That's what you did to make it change. Okay? So the program design answered the question, how it changed. Then the next section of the grant is asking, it is the statement of need, and it answers the question, why it changed. Why does it need to change? This is where you talk about the data the pain, the unemployment, the poverty rate, the homeless rate, the article that came out, the shooting that happened in the neighborhood. This is where you answer the question why it needs to change. Why it needs to change. Why it needs to change. Statement of need answers which question? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's do a quick review of that. And then let's hear from Melissa Alexander. There are 3 sections of every grant. Even Nainwa's 500-page, $74 million grant. It has 3 main sections. There's some other pieces, but it's 3 main things. They want to know the outcomes. Now, answer this question for me. Outcomes answers which question?
What changed?
There you go. There you go. And then there's the second part of a grant. The second part of the grant is the program design. Program design answers which question?
How it changed.
How it changed. All right. And then the third section of the grant, which is actually the first one, is the statement of need. And which question does that answer?
Why does it need to change?
Why does it need to change? And the more pain you can express, the more valid your answer will be. In fact, even if you don't have a solid, proven answer that is going to work, like even if you're not sure that your strategy is definitely going to work, if you have a good understanding of the problem, they will assume your strategy is going to work. All right. So you want to spend time working on your statement of need. All right. Melissa Alexander.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. You had a question?
Oh, my hand was up? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me lower it.
Okay. All right. No problem. No problem.
I'm like, oh, don't call
Okay.
me.
Let me open up a new screen so we can show y'all some more shortcuts. Because we need to write this grant. Y'all ready to get something done?
Yes.
All right. Okie dokie. Let me share my screen. But I have so many screens open. All right. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you all see? Oh, I probably should look. Okay. Y'all can see. Okay. If you don't already have ChatGPT, it will help you expedite your grant writing. Now, of course, my software helps move it along even faster. But for those that don't have the software, you can take a look this way. When you think about the time it takes to write a grant, it takes about 20 hours to write a normal grant. A normal size federal grant takes 40 hours, and you would charge somebody about $150 per hour. All right. The larger the grant, the more research it takes, the more it takes, the more it costs to do. What I'm going to show you is going to remove time from the equation. So somewhere between the beginning and the end are a whole bunch of steps. What I'm getting ready to do is show you how to remove the steps. And these next few strategies I'm going to show you are going to remove the steps faster and faster and faster. I had to go through all of the foundational stuff so that you know what to ask, so that you know what to do. But now we're ready to apply it. All right. If you're ready, say ready. I get some water. All right. Now, you can go to, let's deal with Target, for example. Can you actually, let's start with Truist Bank. Can you review the Truist Bank grant for me? Do y'all see this? That's it. All right. Did y'all see what I did? Now, I don't like broadband, so I'm going to tell it to write one based on a job training program. Can you create a fill in the blank program likely to be funded by such and such? Do y'all see this? Do y'all see how fast this is going? All right. All right. That's fascinating, ain't it? Oh yeah. This is the paid version. Now the free version is helpful, but the paid version can do a lot more. All right. All right. Now, what if I told you that, matter of fact, let's look at Target. All right. Now, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Target grant. Now, I use the Target grant as training because anybody can do it. Okay. All right. Y'all see this? Go down to the bottom, gift card request form, and you fill it out. You have to download this PDF and fill it in. Name your organization. All right. I'm gonna ask y'all these questions. You tell me if you can fill it out. Can you fill out the name of the organization? Can you fill out the amount requested? Can you fill out your address, your street address, contact person? Say yes. All right. Now, explanation of how the gift card will be used. This should be just 3 to 5 sentences. And let's say you don't know how to write at all. Don't want to write anything. You just go here and you say, Target is willing to give a gift card for my job training program. All right. And then you copy and paste it. Y'all see that? You copy and you paste it. Somebody said I'm polite with my GPT. All right. Yeah. Now that's one. Now, what if I showed you a faster shortcut? Now this was fast, wasn't it? This was fast. This was fast. I'm going to show you something even faster. What if you could go even faster than that? What if you wanted to use this grant? You could look at it and see it. But what if you could have access to grants that are already written? Like this one. Now, How long did it take ChatGPT to write that grant? Just type in a number. How long did it take? Yeah, took about 1 minute, a little less than a minute. Okay. Yeah, because it wrote every line. Now look at this. Now, y'all, how many of y'all believe I can do this faster? I can do it even faster. I know y'all don't believe me. But watch this. The Cultural Alliance Cultural Grants for Nonprofit Organizations in Florida. You go here and you say, use this grant template. Done. It's done. It's done. It's done. Yes. And it was done. All right. Let's go back and look at another one. Now, I don't want y'all to get lazy, but just in case you needed to just move quickly, done. Y'all see, I clicked Black Wall Street. I'm gonna go back and write it for Black Wall Street. Use this template. Done. Y'all see that? It's done. Now, what if you don't have a nonprofit and you want to start a nonprofit? What if you could just click and it's done? Done. All right. Now, what if you needed to talk to your city council member and didn't know what to say? Write me a letter. Done. Somebody type done. Yeah, type done, 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 done. All right. Now, those are just some of the things that you can do. I'm going to show you some other things that are shortcuts for you. All right. Once you have one program design, let's go back to ChatGPT. Once you have one program design, you take this same program design and you turn it into your website. Now, what I'm going to, are y'all ready? Y'all still with me? All right. You take this and you turn it into your website. All right. So on your website, it's going to ask you for your mission statement. It's going to ask you for they want to see your mission statement, your key activities. So you take each one of these things, you copy and paste it to your website. exactly like that. Because what's going to happen is when you, turn your program design into your website, when you write a grant application and they go look at your website, they want to see that your website matches the application. They want to see that your website matches the application, all right? And the easiest way to do that is to copy and paste. Okay? Then you want to take your key activities. Then you want to take your community engagement. That's what you do for each one. And you make it your website. What if you need a logo? Mm-hmm. Yep. Turn your program design into your website. Wow. I said features of Black community. That's crazy. That's relevant to a Black community. That's what I should have said. All right. Now, that's ugly. What if you needed a flyer? Oh, yeah. So for logos, you can get logos from here. You can also get them from Looka. Looka. What I'm saying is it does not take as much time as it used to. So you don't have to figure out as many things. All right. Now, I've oh Lord, this is ugly. What is this? Yeah, I don't know what is. Yeah, I don't know what is wrong with them. They about to get on my nerves. All right. So there's some tools I want to show you that can make things quicker for you. Oh, yeah, this is horrible. Somebody said I was so nice to my GPT. All right, let me take some questions while we working out the kinks there. I don't know, they need to fix it. Yeah. All right. Dawn had a question and somebody else. Dawn. Who else had a question? All right. Oh, yeah, Dawn, you can unmute and ask your question. There were two others, Dawn and who else was it? Oh, Adelia, Amadi Celine, and all right. Adelia? Adelia? Yeah, Adelia.
Yes, hi, it's Adelia. Thank you so much. My question is, I actually put it in the chat. So I currently have a Christian organization that I've started, and it's an LLC. However, I'm in the process of doing the whole 501c3 for it. And prior to me starting that process for that, I've had quite a few people reach out to partner with me with giving towards my organization. And so my question is, can I apply for grants as an LLC while I am applying for the 501c3 status for the organization?
Yes, you can. So long as the LLC is eligible. Every grant has eligibility criteria, and they will all tell you if for-profits are eligible or not. If the for-profit is eligible, then yes, you can. If the for-profit is not eligible, then no, you cannot. There's a way around it though. If you know somebody in the area that has a nonprofit in place, you can utilize them as a fiscal sponsor. It's you applying for the grant under their name. All right. And you do that until you get yours established.
Okay.
All right. And for the churches that are here,
Thank you.
What I'd like for you all to consider, you have to separate your religious activity from your community activity. This is how you qualify for more funding. People do not want to fund your religious activity, but they do want to fund your they do want to fund your community programs. So I don't know if can y'all see this? Y'all see the whiteboard?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I should have blocked it, but y'all don't write anything. Uh, so there's religious activity. Then there's
Community.
Community activity. These things do not meet, they do not touch. They are entirely separate.
Okay.
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 So your religious activity is any type of prayer, worship, singing, reading, emotional, any of that stuff. All right. Anything that is specific to your spirituality is religious activity. Your community activity is your youth programs, your senior programs, your music.
Oh, you gonna leave on this?
All right. Do y'all see this? All right. So your church, your faith community, your synagogue, your mosque, your place of worship probably has more community activities than you give yourself credit for. And many times people are funding these things out of offering plate. You don't have to do that. You can actually get grants for each one of these things.
Oh, wow.
So your youth program, your food, your supplies, at a church that I used to pastor, we canceled the Vacation Bible School and turned it into a community peace camp and used the scripture, follow peace with all men. And we got a grant to cover all of the expenses. And instead of having cookies and juice for dinner, we had Longhorn one night, Olive Garden one night, pizza one night. We had a cookout another night with like grilled chicken and everything was donated. And we were able to pay the people that were previously volunteers. And we were able to buy technology for the church. So if you have a music department, your music department that normally does the singing on Sunday, those instruments are just sitting there during the week. What if you wanted to do a music enrichment program, a community music program, a music school that opened up to the community? This is how you want to think about it. You want to think about all of the things that you do that are not religious. There are only a few things that you do that are exclusively religious. But this music program, you can get all of the instruments paid for. And then if you want to borrow them on Sunday, you can. And what if instead of building a new church, you built a community center? Then your church is not raising money for the building fund. Your church is actually raising money for the community. All right. All right. So Amadi, you had your hand raised and somebody else.
That's the question I wanted to ask you, Coach, too, about the pastors and about how they can link up with you as far as, going to the next step.
Oh, okay. All right. Who else? I don't see all the questions. Let me see.
Okay, I'm here. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so when doing grants, you mentioned really quick about the hours and charging and, you said something like 125 per hour. My question is about that, about doing grants for other people, and how to charge them appropriately, for your work.
Right. So the normal rate for a grant writer is $75 on the low end, $150 on the high end. My rate is ridiculously high, but I've been doing this for 20 years. And so working with me is different. But for folks that are that just want to know what the industry standard is $75 to $150 per hour. And when you're writing grants, you want to estimate about 20 hours for a normal size grant. That's a grant that goes up to about $200,000, which is normally about 10 pages long. All of this excludes federal grants because federal grants have ridiculously large amounts of paperwork. But $150 an hour is the top range for the average grant writer. Large grants, which is like state grants, those normally take 40 hours. Okay. So when you're giving people an estimate, you want to give them an estimate anywhere from $75 to $150 per hour, and you want to estimate 20 hours for a grant up to 200,000. And then for more than that, you give yourself 40 hours.
Okay, so I take it then your price kind of goes up as you are winning grants and you're gaining more experience and things of that nature.
Yes, yes. One of the reasons that my prices are so high is because I don't work with new people. And when I write a grant, I'm probably talking to somebody inside that entity. You get what I'm saying? So like Wells Fargo, Truist, lots of the banks, lots of the foundations, I'll talk to them and ask them what to write. And many people haven't built those types of relationships. So for me to write is different than somebody just shooting in the wind.
Right, right. For my LLC is like a project management for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And I want grant writing services to be one of the things that I can help entrepreneurs and small businesses with.
Right.
So knowing a proper scale to be able to charge or and still keep it reasonable that they can afford to work with me and stuff is key.
Yeah. So inside of that grant, you're writing grants for a business development program, and that category or that line item is called technical assistance, where you're showing people how to do a thing. That's technical assistance. I'm the founder of Black Wall Street, and in our program, one of the things that we get money for is technical assistance, and we charge that to the grant. It pays us to show people how to do technical things, how to fill out applications, how to register for minority business status, how to do a pitch. All of those things are grant fundable activities.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because that led to the end of my question on how to, look at grants for my business, my business that is in the business of helping other businesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Adelia and Marianne.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to put my hand down.
Okay, no problem. Marianne.
Okay, let me put my hand down now. sometimes I've seen some people who provide grant writing services mention taking a portion of the grant that is given. Is that even legal?
No,
Okay.
it's I shouldn't say it's illegal. For state and federal grants, it is illegal. For any type of government grants, it's illegal because they say don't do it.
Okay.
But for other grants, it is at least unethical. The
Okay.
thing that governs what we do is the AFP, the Association of Fundraising Professionals, and there's a code of ethics. And we are not supposed to take money out of the grant to pay us. The grant is for the community activity.
Got it.
And so
So if we see anything
that's a
like
big,
that, basically run away from people like that.
yeah.
Okay.
But if they'll do
Thank you.
that, they'll do something else. The way that
Okay.
I teach grant writing is for you to be able to build the types of relationships and to describe your program in such a way that when people fund you this year, they will want to fund you again next year.
Okay. So once we start getting into grant writing and let's say we perfect the art, is it a good thing to maybe have like a side hustle where you help others write grants and you charge them for it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you definitely could and should. You can specialize in any type of grant. You can, like, if you develop a specialty. One of my students, she actually doesn't write a whole bunch of grants. She does a whole bunch of the free requests, like the Target grant that I just showed y'all. Now I showed it
Yes.
to y'all, and some people are not going to do it, even though it's just a paragraph. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what she does, she took that and she just went to all the Targets.
Oh.
And then I showed her another thing, and she went to Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods and a few other places, Walmart, Costco, and she just rides around. And when she sees a place, she follows the pattern, which is you have their application, you take in a copy of your 501(c)(3) letter and your program design, and you show it to them, you ask for money, and they give
Okay.
it.
But I thought Target said only 500 for the entire year. So does she go to, is that per Target location?
That is per Target.
Ah,
But when you go in and you ask for that, what you really want is not the $500. What you really want is a connection with the manager,
okay.
because that manager is going to pop you over into a bigger grant pool.
Ah, okay. Got it. Thank you.
Uh-huh. You're welcome. Next question, Adrian.
Hi, Hackett.
Hey.
How you doing? I'm glad to be talking to you right now. I'm glad you're here, healthy and all that. We need you.
Yeah.
I'm just completed for a group home. I'm here in California and it's an ARF and I need some assistance on getting the property. Our rent here is very expensive.
Yeah.
So, is there grants to assist me on the rental part of it and the furnishing, like, to the beds and dressers and all that good
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, yeah. And those are actually not special. Those are not special. Inside of each one of these grants, you would just put it under supplies.
Okay.
So each one of the grants that we went over, bank grants, hospital grants, utility grants, community foundation grants, you put it under furniture, you put it under supplies. All right.
Okay.
So you're doing the same, you're doing the program design, you're doing the statement of need, you're doing the outcomes. And when it comes to budget, you're saying we need money for furniture, for supplies, etc.
Okay. Now, what about the house itself?
If you were building, are you talking about building or paying the rent?
The rent, because our group homes out here have to be in a certain catchment area. So by me being in Los Angeles, there's like about 15 zip codes. So I try to be in a zip code that's kind of affordable. So I did see one house, but it's gone. It was going for $6,000 a month. So that's like the ballpark range. For
And
two.
you would actually let me see if I can pull up an example. You would actually have to, you have two options.
Okay.
You can break it down per resident,
Mm-hmm.
where you say, this is going to cost $1,000 per month per resident, and you're asking for that in the grant. You're asking for housing, which is $1,000 per resident per
Okay.
month. Or you can ask for it. You can ask for it under facilities. It's actually better to ask for it for the residents because it shows that it's a direct payment. It's a program payment. Let me show
Okay.
you what
So
I
it's
mean.
like a grant that I'm going to, you said per residence?
I'm going to show you what I mean.
Okay.
All right. So this is a grant. You all see this one. This grant was 2 pages, and I got $150,000 for it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I asked for 250,000, but they gave me 150, and I'm not complaining. Oh, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Let me make it a little more wide. All right. Can you see the whole thing, the budget?
I can see all the way down where it says subtotal capital expense.
That's cool. All right, that's good. So look right here. Someone asked about support groups. So you see where I charge $75 per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Right here is housing. Housing, $600 per month for 1 month of housing for 50 clients.
Got it.
So that's what I mean. You can track it per person. Now, this is inside program expenses.
Mm-hmm.
If I had not described it this way, now when I described it this way, I attached it to 50 clients.
Okay.
That allowed me to put it in this category. If I had not put it in that category and I looked at it as the program needs to rent a house,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have had to take care of it down here in indirect, which is only 13,000.
Okay.
Because at that point, it would have just been a facility, the facility that the program has. You don't want, and I know it sounds like it's almost the same, but it's a big difference. Your
Mm-hmm.
budget is broken up into categories. You have program expenses and you have overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Grants do not like to pay for overhead. So whenever you have a program expense, you want to be able to connect that expense to the client.
Okay.
Because if you say $30,000 for overhead, they're like, oh, you wasting money.
So which grant am I applying for this particular group home that I'm trying to get started?
You're always applying for more than one. Always applying for more.
Okay. More than okay.
Always, always, always.
Okay.
So you work out your whole year's budget. How much do you need for the year? $150,000. And you
Mm-hmm.
break it up into pieces. And
Got
so
it.
you ask every bank for the most that they give. You ask every grocery store for the most that they give. Every
Mm-hmm.
hospital foundation, every community foundation, every city, every county. You ask. For example, this grant, they gave me 147,000.
Mm-hmm.
But down here showed the other grants that I got. I had 120,000 from one, 21,000 from another, 10,000 from another, 4,999 from another, and 25,000 from another.
Okay. And then how would I also ask for like the facility, like the vans, the group, for transportation?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be add that in there as well?
Yes,
Like that?
and it's a single line item.
Okay, got it. And so anything that has to do with personal training for the clients and everything like that, add that on a line as well.
Anything that you needs its own line item.
Okay.
And you want the majority of your lines to be program expenses, where you describe this is for the client.
Okay.
I need laptops for the client. I need
Right.
$100 each so the clients can have clothes to go to work. I
Right.
need food for the clients. I need transportation for the clients, gas cards for the clients. I need support groups for the clients, certifications for the clients, materials for the clients, vital records for the clients, housing for the clients. Right here, you see I got cell phones, $100 for a phone plus $50 for 1 month of service for what? 36 clients.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, you want to describe your budget that way.
Okay.
Everything you need for the clients. And then you want to piece it off like little slices of pizza.
Okay, now so I would have to break all that down even for like the toiletry items and stuff like that?
Just say supplies or materials or toiletries,
Okay.
$5,000. And
Okay.
you estimate it might be each person needs about $50 worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you do estimates. You see all these are round numbers. These are all estimates.
Okay. All righty.
All right.
Okay, I got it. Thank you so much.
All right. You're very welcome. All right, Tarsha.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Have you seen any grants perhaps do something maybe a little different, like turning a hotel into like a transitional housing?
That's not different. That's normal.
Oh, that's normal? Oh, tell
That
me
is
more.
normal. That's normal. Our city just did one for 15 million. They actually bought the hotel. First, they rented the hotel, and then they bought the hotel for well, the nonprofit rented the hotel. The city rented the hotel for the nonprofit, and then they gave the nonprofit 15 million to buy the hotel.
Wait, one more time.
The city
City.
rented the hotel
Okay.
and let the nonprofit run the homelessness program out of the hotel.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so that's
Then they
normal.
gave the nonprofit 15 million to buy the hotel and renovate it.
And you saying that's normal, is that something that you've seen in New York? That you have clients and people in New York that may be able to do that?
I haven't done it in New York, but it is done. Most of the property that you see redeveloped has been redeveloped by grants.
All right.
And if you ever wanted to know how it happened, then that all comes through your city.
Yeah, I think you mentioned before in the class where we can look. I forgot the name, what it's called, where they look to find out what the city's top issues are.
Yep. That's called the consolidated plan. And if you don't know exactly where to get it, you type in your city's name and the word consolidated plan, or you can contact your community and economic development office and just ask them, can you send me the consolidated plan? You can also ask them to send you or to tell you how you can find out about capital grants, housing, and they'll tell you because it's public information.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. And I think that's it. We're going to stop here. I think, well, that was all the questions.
Please, I just had one more question. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Since we were talking about, I just remember this question since we're talking about housing and buildings and stuff like that. So, so if let's say someone had a nonprofit, I have a nonprofit, and I would like to get a building for the nonprofit, but obviously, paying rent and all that stuff could get very expensive. So, is it like how would I go about getting a grant to get a building, or would I get a grant for rent for a building? Like, what's the best way to do it?
There are two ways. You'll see this grant that I have right here. This is for a transitional living program, and this is for 1 year, $600 per month for 1 month of housing for 50 clients. How much was that total? Right here. How much was the total?
30,000.
30,000. What do you think that 30,000 paid for?
For the rent.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Zero came out of my pocket.
Okay.
All right. The next thing, the next strategy on how to get buildings paid for. I want everybody to pay close attention. If you're going after a capital grant and you want a building to be purchased or paid for with a grant, what you want to do is going to take you, you should know it's going to take you about 2 years total. That's the total for a capital campaign. It's a mixture of grants and sponsorships, and there are going to be some requirements. They want you to have an audit done. They want you to have financial policies and procedures, and they want you to have matching funds.
What does
Now,
that mean? What does matching funds mean?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Matching funds is money that you can use to match what they give. So when a
Okay.
funding source allows you to ask them for capital money, capital CAPITAL, what they're
Yes.
saying is we're willing to give you a portion of what you need to build, to purchase, to buy, et cetera, to renovate, et cetera. And they're normally only willing to give you 20% of the whole.
Oh, wow.
They expect is that you're going to go to everybody else and ask everybody else for 20% as well.
Ah, okay.
All
Got
right.
it.
So a capital grant, if you ever want a building to be bought, purchased, renovated, updated, any of that, that's called a capital grant. And you should be prepared for a 2-year process. That includes 2 years of financials. So you want to show them what you're going to do financially for 2 years. You want to
Okay.
price out your equipment, your furniture, have your general contractors do their thing and give you the estimates.
Okay.
Also want a vision, like a picture of what it is. It doesn't have to be exact just yet, but it needs to be something vibrant so that you can show people.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. All right. So it is almost time. And so I'm going to pause here. We'll have to come back to talk more. I hope that I didn't take up too much of your time. I kind of got carried away in the details, but I wanted to make sure you knew some of the shortcuts. I'm going to remind you of them right now. The 1-3-5 method, one program, 3 activities, 5 partners. All right. Every grant has 3 sections. That's the statement of need, the program design, and the outcomes. When you're writing a grant, you can write it by hand. You can do it the super old-fashioned way, or you can do it a little bit faster, and you can use chat GPT to reword some of this stuff, to grammar check your stuff, to shrink it down. But you can also use Grant Suite, which is my software. Inside of Grant Suite, we have actually we have I don't know how many thousands of grants, but they're in there and they're already written. And you just press a button and it updates. You have inside of Grant Suite what I've already written, what my writers have written, what's already been approved, and it just pulls my information out and puts your information in there. And it does it very, very quickly. All right. After that, if you wanted Grant Suite, you can have it. I put together an offer for you all if you wanted it. There are some people that asked about me doing their writing for them. You can do that. You'll have to DM me. I only have 5 of those spaces left. We call it Power Pages. That's where I do your grant writing for a year. That's 12 grants written for you. That's all of your email introductions, introducing you to your funding sources, connecting you with your funders. And I speak at your event to help raise money. In addition to that, we do the white paper for you, which is the research you need to validate what it is that you're doing. And our goal is to help you reach at least $100,000 for the year. If anybody was interested in that, you're going to have to DM me in order to do that. So because we're going to have to talk about it, but I only have 5 of those spaces left. All right. And I think that's it for today. All right. Mark, you can put up the link. If anybody wanted to pick up the software, and with the software, of course, you get lots of other bonuses that'll help you along the way. I'm glad that you all were able to hang out with me today, and certainly hope you learned a lot. But more importantly, I want you to take what you have learned and apply. Apply for the Target grant. Apply for the Costco grant. Apply for the Truist grant. Apply for every bank grant. Apply for every hospital grant. Contact your community economic development office. Don't wait. Go ahead and apply. Throw your name in the hat. You don't have to just sit by on the sideline. And if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, that's fine. If you want to pick up speed and do it a little faster with ChatGPT, that's fine. If you want to use my software, that'll make it even faster. That's fine. And if you just want to, just want me to do it, that's fine. But you're going to have to make a move. You're going to have to make a decision because time is ticking and grant season is right now. Oh man, there was one other thing I forgot to go over, which is the grant calendar. The grant calendar. I'm going to do this really, really quickly so that everybody can get it. In the grant count with the grant calendar, this is how you plan out your year of grants. No matter what you do, this is how you plan out your year of grants. January is when you work on pledges. That's where you get people to pledge to your nonprofit that they're going to give $5 a month, $10 a month, blah, blah, blah. February is when bank grants become available. March is where foundation grants become available. April, you continue with foundation grants. In May, you're working on federal grants that become available. Federal grants are available all year long, but the final push for federal grants, the biggest ones, the lowest hanging fruit, you'll see them in May. June, state grants are available. July is a quiet month. You're going to, during the month of July, you're going to have your board meeting. If you haven't had it already, have your board meeting, approve your budget, refine your mission, your goals, your objectives, because you're getting ready for the month of August. In the month of August, your community development grants become available, especially for cities that are larger than 200,000 people. All right. Cities that are larger than 200,000 people, the community grants become available out of the Community Development Office. This grant is called CDBG. All right, CDBG. That means Community Development Block Grants. If your city is smaller than 200,000 people, you can still email your Community Development Office, but that grant door won't be open until much later in the year. During the month of September, your local nonprofits are going to give away grants. That's your local hospitals, your local foundations, your electric companies, your hospital foundations, Chamber of Commerce, Rotary Club. Those are local foundations are going to give away grants. They're going to be somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000 because they're going to be having meetings in October so that they can award the grant, and they're going to want to take a picture with you and tell all of their sponsors so they can get more money. But in the month of October, you're going to need to be preparing for banks to do sponsorships because the banks are ending their fiscal year October the 31st. And then in the month of November, you want to prepare for Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Is always a Tuesday after Thanksgiving. That is the time during which all of America is encouraging people to give, and you want to work on your social media plan for your nonprofit so you can launch at least 45 days, launch your social media plan at least 45 days before Giving Tuesday so that you can move forward. All right. And then after Giving Tuesday, you're in the month of December. During the month of December is the time that you plan for annual giving and major gifts. Annual giving and major gifts happens in December. Okay. I'll do it one more time with less explanation, and I'm gonna just go through it. January, pledges. February, banks. March and April, foundations. May, state grants. May, federal grants. June, state grants. July, board meeting. August, community grants. September, local nonprofits, local chambers of commerce. And then October, bank sponsorships. November, Giving Tuesday, and December is major gifts and end of year giving. All right. If anybody is interested in Power Pages, I only have 5 of them. Go ahead and direct message me before all those go. That's when I take care of all of your grants for the year. If anybody wants the software, Mark, you can put up the link to pick up the software. Right now, it's just $197. And then you just pick it up from there. All right.
Coach, before you leave, please, I send you a direct message. This is Marcia. Could you look at it and send me a reply when you get a chance? Thank you.
All right. Yeah, you did
Thank
on
you.
Facebook?
I know, right here in the chat. I send you a direct.
Oh.
Marcia Blyden.
Is that $197 a month?
Yeah, hold on. It says it's shortcut.
It says 197 first and then 99 a month after 30 days.
That's correct. 99 a month after that.
Coach, it's okay. It's late. I'll send you a direct message on
Okay.
Facebook.
All right. Yeah, I can't see
Thank
it.
you. Yeah.
It's 197 today, and then 97 a month, and you'll keep it as long as you feel like using it. You cancel it whenever you feel like it.
One question before you leave. I appreciate your time. Can you use your software as a business? Basically, can
Yeah.
I hit not
Yes.
turn it in,
In fact, I should
turn
have
people to
explained that.
nonprofits?
You see
Yeah.
how I pressed the button for Black Wall Street?
Mm-hmm.
You actually can do that an unlimited amount of times. So you could write grants for everybody else in the class if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll
And nonprofits. Startup nonprofits.
Yeah. You can use the software to start their nonprofits, start nonprofits for other people. Yeah.
Can it make contracts?
It does not make contracts, but it does have sponsorship letters. So when people are raising money without writing grants, you just need to request money and don't know how to ask for it. That's the sponsorship letter. Those are in there. And also emails are in there. And then the nonprofit setup is in there.
Coach, this is Melissa. Where's the link for the grant suite? Do I?
Yeah, it's in there. Shortcut to
Okay.
grant.
Oh, sure. Okay, that's what it is. All right.
Yep.
Oh,
Shortcut to grants.
Quick
I'm
question.
sorry, this is Tyra McCorkle. Is the software also for profits or solely for nonprofits or both?
It is for both. There are about
Okay.
600 for-profit grants in there.
Thank you.
That's what I was going to ask. For the group home, how does that work? Because if I'm already going to be receiving money for the clients from the regional center, how is that nonprofit and profit? How would that work?
They're actually two totally separate things. You will never get, like, $1 cannot pay for two different things. Like every dollar has to pay for its own thing. So I'm going to tell you how I did it. My transitional home started off for profit. And when people pay their rent, they were actually paying to keep lights on and everything, right? But I need them to pay something because you ain't gonna be up in here for free. So when we got nonprofits that covered the housing, the individuals still had to pay $187 a week. That $187 was the program fee. That's what went to pay my staff and all the incidentals. So I'm not using that $1 to pay for two different things. The grant money paid for the housing, the people's money paid for the incidentals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If it doesn't, it's okay. I can explain it more.
Explain it one more time.
Say that again, please, sir.
$1 cannot pay for two different things. The grant dollars have to pay for what you put on paper. All right. So if you get grants dollars for housing, you cannot use the rent money, the money people pay you. You cannot use that for housing too. That's called supplanting. That's not okay. What you can do is document what the people pay you as a program expense. They're paying to be part of the program. It sounds like it's just words, but it's very, very, very important. So they sign a program contract, and it says to be in this program costs you $187 a week.
Got it. It's not rent.
It's not rent. You do not have a lease. It is not rent. You are not a resident. You're in a program.
Got it. So that will alleviate the eviction if they don't act right.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
So
all right. And the other thing I forgot to tell you all, with this package, the shortcut to grants, you also get access to all of the trainings that I did last year. That's part of the bundle. They're being uploaded so that you'll have them inside of your portal. So you don't have to pay the 3,500. Lord, God bless you, Melissa. You don't have to pay the 3,500 Melissa paid 2 years ago.
What? But that's okay, because I just know I was part of the first group.
Yeah,
So
you was part of the first group.
that's why I'm
You won't
still
have to pay that that other people paid. You won't have to pay what Nainwa paid. You'll be able to just pay this and take advantage of it. So you have the Grant Suite software that does it for you. But just in case you wanted to practice doing it for yourself, you get the class on how to search and find grants. You can just go through it over and over again. You get the class on how to use AI for grant writing. You get the class on how to start a nonprofit. So if you wanted to do it as a business, where you were setting up nonprofits for somebody else, the same way that LegalZoom does, you just follow the steps and there's a checklist in there. If that's something that you wanted to do, even if you wanted to add it to a service that you're already providing. All right. The goal is to help you all get started this year as quick as possible, as fast as possible, to make as much progress as possible. You do not want these grant deadlines to come up and you keep missing it. Not when there are shortcuts out here. Okay?
How long is the subscription pricing available? The 197 down 99, is that just for tonight?
Yeah, I created it just for tonight. And I have to speak to Smitty's group, Fund Your Freedom. So this will go away. This will go away tonight. Well, actually,
It's not allowing me to continue the process. Is it over? No.
I don't know. I hope it's not. It's after. You know what? I set it up for one day, and I think because the time hit, I'm gonna have to open it back up. Is anybody else having a
yes,
problem?
after midnight.
Okay, see, I'm having trouble completing
All
it.
right. That's what it is. Mark, can you go back in and fix it?
Yes, sir, no problem.
All right.
Can we get an extension?
Yeah, we're going to extend it for 24 hours. So it'll
be under the same link.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to fix it. So when he'll come back in a minute and let us know that it's refreshed. For any church groups, you're going to want to, and community groups can do this as well. But these are some instructions for you. If you are a church group or any type of religious group, do the quick work of separating your religious activity from your community activity.
Yeah.
Okay? Separate those things. You're going to find that you have a lot of community activities that are fundable. Go ahead and attach prices to each one of those community activities. It can be based on last year's budget, how much you spent for the youth rally, the youth conference. Maybe your annual church conference does not need to be only a religious conference. Maybe the nighttime services are worship services, but the daytime is for teaching. You get what I'm saying? If you're having a relationship workshop, that can be funded. If you're having a job fair at your building, that can be funded. If you're taking people whitewater rafting, that can be funded. If you want to take a busload of children to Atlanta for the Battle of the Bands, that can be funded. You don't have to do that out of tithes and out of offering, okay? So just do the work of separating these things. You can assign it to a committee. The next thing that the committee needs to do is take a look at the grants calendar and line up what grants we're going to apply for at what point this year. All right. After that, you want to go ahead and look at each one of those grant websites and reach out. Just pile up the emails and send out one mass email to all of the funding sources. Invite them to a meeting where you can explain to them what you want to do for the community. All right. I'm going to explain that one more time. Look at the grants that you want to apply for the year. Inside of each one of those grants, at the bottom, there is an email. Send out an email requesting all those people to come to a partners meeting. And at that meeting, you want to explain to them what you want to do, what you plan to do for the whole year. At the end of that meeting, ask them, what can you all do to help us reach this goal? What grants do you have available?
I have a quick question for you, and I'm sorry to bring this up so late. I have the application for my 1023. Do I have to have that accepted by the IRS before I can apply for a grant?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So if you apply, there are two forms that you can use. If you apply for the 1023, there's a long form and a short form. You apply for the 1023. If you do the long form and you apply for a grant, there is a way that you can expedite the long form. You'll have to call and request it. And the reason is only if you are going to be awarded a grant, but you have not been approved for your 501c3 yet. And that's it can be a difficult thing to prove. Also, a lot of the grant sites are going to run your EIN first. And if your EIN is not already recognized as a nonprofit, they're not going to let you pass that firewall.
Gotcha.
So it's best to go, if you're going to apply, to go ahead and apply quickly. And it'll save you about $1,500 and 6 months of wait time if you do it my way, which is inside the package.
Okay. All right. I might have to circle back around and DM you.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Other questions, Diana?
Mine was very quick. It's in relation to what you were saying about the people paying for the program costs. Would that be considered fee for service?
Say it again.
When you were talking about the people paying the program costs, they weren't paying rent, but they were paying for the program. Would that be considered fee for service?
That's absolutely what it's called.
Okay, thank you.
Fee for
That's what I
service,
wanted to
membership
know.
fee for service. All right.
Put my hand down.
Sandra Reese. Oh, no, Sandra was trying to come in. Bricky.
Okay, real quick. Excuse me if you already mentioned this, but is the target grant also for for-profit businesses?
Target grant is only for nonprofit.
Okay, thank you.
All right. For profit, everybody that purchases tonight, I'll send you the list of nonprofit grants. I mean, of for-profit grants. You already have nonprofits. I'll send you the list of for-profit grants. All right.
Okay, thank you. Just purchased mine.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for everything. Your
All right.
time, all the answers, everything.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Man, y'all know I could teach this all day. There's so much more. Every time somebody asks a question, I think of more and more things. Kelly, you have the last question.
I just want to brag.
I got it. I got the software. Thank you so much for everything.
All right now. That's cool. Congratulations. All right, y'all. Well, let's go. Y'all have a great day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the
Good
world.
night.
Reach out to me if you have any questions, y'all. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Bye-bye now.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Good night.
Coach.
Blessings. Get
God
some
bless
rest.
you.
Good night, everybody.
Some rest, sir. Get some rest.
Morning, coach, get some rest.
We
Thank
love
you,
you,
Mr.
Coach
Mark.
Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.